If only the bottom ones had been done.
Your hair looks cute too. Did you get it cut just right
Thanks.
before?
No. All right, guys, welcome to our live broadcast.
Hey,
I'm
hi.
Paula, and we're just having a good time here because that's what we got to do right now. I'm Paula with Paula Nowak, business coaching for women in the pet industry. And I get to interview Vicki Ronchette from Show Dog Prep School. And we're going to learn a lot about her business, how business coaching has impacted her life and her business before the quarantine, of course. And I'm so excited to even introduce you to Vicki because, she's been doing this online thing longer than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe she could share like a few nuggets or something with us so that we can speed up, right? So Vicki, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. I'm so thankful that we have this time so that we can chat because I have some questions for you. We're midway through our 6 month. You're doing a little bit more than 6 months because you got an early jump start, but we're about midway through. We're on a little break with this quarantine. And I wanted to check in and share with others because a lot of people in the pet industry might not even think about getting a business coach. And I thought, who better to ask than someone who's actually in the process of it?
Right.
So before I just jump into questions, a little information about you and your company so people can get to know you.
Sure. So I had for several years, many years, I think I actually started the business in around 2003, maybe, where it was like I was going to do dog training, but I had been training for a lot longer before then. So I started out and I always did conformation because I showed dogs for a long time. So my first competition dog was an obedience dog, and then I had show dogs, and then I had a dog training business where I did puppy classes, beginning obedience. I mean, we did everything. We did nose work, we did rally, we did competition obedience, we did things like, the real world where we would go to different parks in the area.
Yeah.
We would do like manners classes, just everything. And then a couple years ago, trying to remember when it was, must have been about maybe 2016. The building that I had, I was gonna lose the building. I was just renting it, but it got sold, and I sort of looked at that as a sign from the universe that having been thinking about just doing confirmation was going to happen. So I stopped doing regular dog training and behavior consulting, and I just did confirmation. So then all I did was show dog stuff, and then that turned into me writing a book called From Shy to Showy. In 2007, I had written Positive Training for Show Dogs. So that book had been out for a while. So I was always doing confirmation, but this time I just was doing only confirmation. And then I created Show Dog Prep School, which is our online school, because I had so many people all over the world who needed help and couldn't get it. I mean, they would have confirmation classes, but it would basically just be like some club member, you know, who was teaching the class. So it wasn't really training, it was sort of just run through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I created an online school for it.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
that brings you up to this point that you're still offering that. And in
Yep.
the online school, you can be anywhere in the world because you definitely work within other countries, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you even have some other instructors who have additional classes to just keep strengthening that core of confirmation show dogs.
Exactly. And the thing with confirmation is that confirmation has always been way behind everybody else in terms of progressive training methods. Confirmation, and I know that there's some of this in other sports, but in confirmation, tradition is everything. People learn everything from their breeder learned everything from their breeder. That breeder learned everything from that breeder, and so you learn a lot about the dogs, the pedigrees, all this wonderful information, but all the training methodology just keeps trickling down the same as it's always been. And so that means that people who've been doing this for 40 or 50 years, while they know a lot about the dogs and the show world and pedigrees and their breed, they probably, a lot of them have not been doing any research or reading or continued education and learning on more progressive dog-friendly methods.
Right.
So then you get just the same of everything. And then when that doesn't work on a dog, it's like, well, he just washed out, he didn't like it. And it's like, well, what did you do when you thought he didn't like it? And so my job isn't just to say, oh, well, he doesn't like it. It's like, let's make dogs who like it.
Right. And so you saw that there was a need on a global scale. And so you said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to provide this school something that you love. And I think that's really important for anyone in the industry. But, women in the pet industry, like there's so much we can do. There's so much, and taking something that you enjoy and then applying it to, how can I help others and make a business out of it? That's what you did. And I just think that's amazing. And I wish more people would do that, because then we would have a lot of specialty, people who are really focused in. Like, I'm sure you're great at teaching all those other things that you did, but you're focused on this one thing to really make sure people understand it and then they get the most out of it.
And, I have to say this because I want to say this for the people that are watching who haven't maybe made the change, but it's like for years, I never, ever trusted that there would be enough business in conformation. So for years, it was like, oh, nose work. I'm going to become a certified nose work instructor. And I did. And it was fine. It was nose work. It was like, it hurt my back. It was too much bending. And it really wasn't what I wanted to focus on. And then it's like, well, maybe I could be do freestyle in my area. But nothing was my expertise and nothing was what I loved, like conformation. And so finally, when I just said, oh, there's probably not going to be enough, interest, but this is what I'm going to do, there was. And I was able to stay very busy with private lessons for conformation only. And for a long time, I still had my building when I did that. Because I was doing conformation still all that time. But then when I let the building go, it was just, I would just do conformation lessons at the park. I mean, and so yeah, it's there's definitely a need for it, but it was scary to, make that decision that I'm just, this is what I'm going to do. 'Cause this really is what I want to do. And I feel like I really like problem solving and I like being creative and doing different things that we haven't tried before and stuff like that,
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who's interested in, what Vicki does, and I think looking at other people and saying, maybe I don't want to be the conformation person, or even in dog training, maybe you're just, selling products, looking at other businesses such as yours and saying, what is she doing? You go live and, you offer these online platforms and you get creative with it to say, you're listening to your community and saying, what can I provide? What speaks to you? Still being authentic to you, right? And so you're right. So many people don't do that, and it's scary. I know it's scary, right?
It is scary.
So we want to help people not be scared with that, and not even be scared of owning a business or working up through a business. So I'm going to jump into some specific questions to business coaching, because that's something I didn't know about, and I had the opportunity to work with you so far in the last 3 months. And I've worked with a few other people as well. And it was cool because you came to me and said, hey, is there something that you can do to help me? And I was like, I think so, because I want to work with people who, I understand. And sometimes I don't actually know the person as well as I feel like I know you. And then I just get to grow in that because we get to work together. So my first question for you is, what are some of the things or main thing that you were struggling with before you decided to reach out?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I thought this thing was going to blow up. I thought it was just going to be crazy, and it wasn't. And that was very painful, because I think that it's new for this arena. I think that a lot of people involved in this sport are older. So they may not be as with the technology as comfortable with that. So I think that there's a few reasons for that, where I just felt like, I don't know, lost my train of thought.
You just thought that, no, but you thought that your business was just going to be booming after the last 2 years. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into it.
Yes. So we built this beautiful website. I thought it would go crazy and it didn't. And then there would be some sales, but I knew that the piece that I was missing a lot was like the marketing piece. Like that's not, and I was reading every book. I mean, I have all these books on marketing
You were taking
and
classes.
I was taking classes. I have friends who are like, have degrees in business but like, and one of them's a very close friend, like one of my closest friends, but she got that degree when social media was just starting to happen. So she didn't really feel, she knew that I needed to do something and she would give me ideas. But I think part of it is that I'm not saying like I don't like when people say a dog breed is like special or different, so you have to train it different. But I
Right.
do think this industry is different. This is a different industry. So I know a lot of what will work and won't work in terms of just some of the bigger picture stuff. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Where a person might, you know, like if they're in another business, have an approach that would be really great, but I just sort of know in my gut, like, yeah, it's not really how it works for us.
Right.
So yeah, so that's why I just decided to contact you and see, like how this worked and if this could help me.
Absolutely. So you were struggling because you thought your business should be bigger and you wanted more focused marketing because you had all this knowledge, and that's what happens so many times is people have, there's so many resources online. But then what
Right.
applies to Vicki Ronchette? What applies to Show Dog Prep School, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
how do you implement it and then know, is it working?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's my favorite thing is the marketing and the communication, right?
Yeah.
So we started working probably mid-December and through mid-March, and we'll continue once we can continue back into normal life, right? Whatever normal is.
Yeah.
So how do you feel after working together over the last 3 or so months? What are some of the changes you've seen so far in your business, how you approach things?
Well, I think a lot of it is that, you just see when you don't really know what you're doing. Like I had been reading about different approaches to marketing and I was really trying to do that, but I was still like always just trying to sort of be a salesperson, I guess, which I'm really not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some things that I needed to change in terms of just like um, thinking less about selling and thinking more about creating a bigger audience and connecting with people and really finding my appropriate clients, the people that are really my people, who I want to
Mm-hmm.
work with. So I think that was a really, really big thing for me. And also just a real creativity that you have in terms of coming up with other ideas and just sort of ways of like, instead of me saying, okay, here's this big website with all these classes, so now I need to sell all these classes. It's like, no, what do you want to sell? Like, let's just narrow it down and focus on one thing, maybe for the next 2 weeks, so that I have a better, I can do that because it's just one thing. You know what I mean? As
It gets
opposed to just like,
overwhelming, right?
yeah, it's too much. It's really a lot. And when you're trying to run the business and teach classes and create content, and then you're also trying to just figure out what like also how it all works, it's a lot and it's very disheartening. And you just feel lost, and I felt very like, I don't understand, like this is good stuff, like this is good stuff.
Right.
So yeah, just trying to sort of get that out there and you know work on that. It's been
And
really
so
helpful.
what are some of the things that you've been able to implement? So, obviously focusing on certain sales and not
Hmm.
overselling and not feeling icky, right? Because what you have to offer is gold.
Yeah.
But how do you tell people about that without being like, buy this,
Right.
discount everything,
Yeah. Exactly.
What are some of the
Exactly.
things you've done to build your community? Because that's definitely something that you and I have worked on a lot.
Well, one of the things that we worked on was like, well, you taught me a lot about different ways of marketing and selling. So it's like, the hard sells and then like giving content and then just throwing in an offer too of what we have that can help them. So I think that that was like a really big thing for me because I didn't really know how to do that. And I also think that you really pushing me with some things that I'm really uncomfortable with, which is, like really looking at subscribers and followers, and I wasn't even doing like anything with MailChimp. I have all these subscribers, and it's like, and you kind of went crazy. You're like, oh my God, like, so, like really being more consistent with that. And thinking about like really content that's helpful to people. So I don't think people just want to hear me spout off about my opinion. Right? You know what I mean? Like, be nice to your dogs. Like, this is how you should be training. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
that's not really what people are looking for. They're looking for solutions and answers. So I think really also working on the content that I'm giving, and just creating trust so that people know me. They know what I know. They trust me. They've seen some stuff. So now they have, confidence in me and what I do. So I think that's been really good. And then also just being more, trying different ways of doing things. So this is all happening, but this of everybody scrambling to try and, figure out different ways, I was doing like a few months ago, just as part of where I wanted to do this, and where I wanted to go. And I have a really good friend who has a multi-species animal training business in Ohio, at Laura Joseph.
Shout
And
out.
yeah, shout out the Animal Behavior Center. But anyways, Laura does a ton of lives. And so she had really been pushing me to, like, you need to be doing an episode show where you're, seeing, you need to do lives, you need to do. So I've been working on that too. And luckily I feel pretty comfortable with that. I don't mind doing things live because I enjoy for people to see me struggle and have to work through it, because I feel like that's comforting to people, and it makes them see that it's like, I'm not just bringing up dogs who are perfectly trained and,
Right.
oh, look, isn't it great? It's sort of like, oh man, this happened. And so, yeah, I think that's been, those have all been helpful things for the
Yeah, and being
business.
vulnerable is great, and that was something you didn't have to work on. You just had to, start implementing it more.
Yeah.
That was so easy to work with you because you were comfortable being on camera. You were comfortable being live.
Yeah.
And you just stepped that up. And that's been beautiful to see, because I know that has really brought you in more people subscribing to hear from you through their email, or,
Yes.
tune in on Facebook, since that's your primary, communication tools, right?
Yeah.
And you've already kind of answered my next question, like, what was specific helpful working together? Because for me, I feel like your business is my business. If you're successful, we're successful.
Yeah.
And I hope that is how you feel as well. Is there anything you want to point out that specifically was helpful in working together?
I think one of the things that was really helpful was doing our meetings, where we would meet and on Zoom and talk, because I felt like it's sort of like my chance to regroup and get everything together, and really make a list and have concrete things to work on, instead of just like, well, you should be getting some more subscribers this week. It was like, really, it was specific. The other thing that's been huge for me was, and I think it was you who really pushed this, was the journaling. And I've been hammering clients forever to journal when they're working like a reactive dog or a
Right.
worry dog. You keep track of things. And you had actually suggested more of a sort of like visionary stuff, but that spiraled into really me being able to map out some really important goals and just break things down in ways that it's attainable. I'm not just saying like, oh, I'd like to have a big house. It's like, you know what I mean? Like pulling everything apart. And I journal. I have a separate journal for myself, for my life stuff. I have one for the business. I have one for my dogs, for just what we're working on in terms of training and stuff like that. And that is really helpful to me. And it's almost like, I feel like, it comes off maybe like we feel weird about it. Like, what am I going to keep a diary? Like kind of kooky,
Right.
but,
We're
but
not
I'm
13,
all about that.
Yeah.
No, but can I tell you that when you told me the first time, I just want you to get it, and I want you to write as if you are exactly where you want to be. don't think I didn't go buy a little, furry unicorn journal, because I did. But I do, that was really helpful for me, so the meetings I think were really helpful, having really concrete, ideas. And then you're also really good at, sort of staying with me when I start to I'm a very emotional person. I'm a Pisces, like all the way. And yeah, I can get brokenhearted so easily. Like someone, unsubscribes and it's like, I'm just going to jump out the window. And you would be like, oh my God, that's so great. Someone unsubscribed from you, because now you don't have to like waste their time and your time. Like that's not your client, but I was like, oh my God, like that was a big thing for me to hear, because all I hear is they hate me. I guess everything I'm putting out is stupid because someone unsubscribed. And you're like, no, that's awesome. Like they're cleaning up your list for you.
Yes,
So
they're
that
taking
was
the
really,
time to say no, thank you.
yeah. So you have been very good at reining me in when I can just be like, and you know what I'm talking about.
I
I'm
do.
not this, forget it. Just, I'm not gonna, and you're like, okay, calm down.
But that's, that just speaks to just like being a dog trainer, or anyone in the service-based industry. It's like, if my massage therapist tells me to do these certain stretches and I go back month over month and I don't do the stretches, I'm not going to get any better.
Right.
So no matter what I say, as long as you are taking it and you're applying it, you're going to see shifts. It takes time to see bigger shifts, especially when working on ourselves, because I think a good business coach is going to look at everything, right?
Yes.
It's not just the business, because for you and I, our business is us. It's our life, right?
Exactly.
And so we can't separate it. It's just too intertwined. So thinking about, before and now working together, could you have done these things on your own?
Oh no, I wouldn't even have any of these ideas. I mean, I'd still be swimming around, just making a post all the time about different classes for sale. I mean, literally that's what I was doing. I mean, I sort of intuitively knew I needed to be like offering content, but I didn't really know how. And I have a lot of information that I'm happy to give away. I'm happy.
You are a giver.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to do that. So it was just like, oh yeah, I can do that. I mean, I actually really, I like, now it's kind of screwed up, but it used to be that Monday morning I would sit down and put all my posts together that I'm going to send out. And, I like to do it. So there wasn't anything that was really bad. The things I don't like. I mean, there are some things I don't like. Like I don't like, I'm scared of feedback because, I mean,
it's going to be
it hurts
personal.
my feelings.
Yeah.
So I've had to work on that, and maybe I'm still not so good at that, but, I'm trying. So, but but no, I would not be seeing the changes in the business, and mostly it's almost like not only the changes in the business, but it's like the following growing. That's what needs to happen with my business, is that I need to have more people who trust. And I really like your group where there's just a feeling of community. I mean, I'm all about that. I'm a hippie, I like, like-minded people who support each other. And so I like that too,
Yeah. And there's so much that we can do together in this industry, and being women, I'm happy to work with men too, but I think women, we have a different connection a lot of times, especially in the pet industry.
Yes.
And so, thinking about all this, shared some amazing things today with us. And I appreciate your vulnerability here, because, who knows who's going to see this and hear this and say, oh my God, that's me. Right.
Yeah.
And I hope they do, because I'm so excited to get to help you. And then whoever else comes along who has the same, struggles and passions. But what are some of the things you would say from business coaching that's actually impacted your life?
I think the journaling has been one. I think just feeling like, when you don't know what you're doing and it's frustrating, then it's trigger stacking, it's just another thing that's like on your mind that you're swimming and not getting anywhere. And that's exhausting, that's really, really hard. So I wouldn't be, um, I mean, I think so. However, my business is doing is gonna, um, like affect my mood. It's just how I walk around and live. I am
Right.
an emotional person. Like, if it's good, I'm happy and it's great, but I can get very broken and, so I need it to be good. And I need to know that it's like, I feel like I'm on the right track to getting to where I want to go. And so that, has definitely impacted my life. And the journaling, I mean, the journaling is just, I'm a writer,
Mm-hmm.
I can write a lot. Even when I'm writing a book or something, I can write fast and I can write a lot. Like I have a lot to say. So, but everybody doesn't need to hear it. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
it's been really good for me to be able to write anything I want in there. Like,
Yeah.
and so, and the main journal that I use for my own life is I've showed you, it's one that's it's structured. So they're talking you through a lot of stuff, but there's things that that I write down in there that I wouldn't say to anybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what are you struggling with? Well, this is really upsetting me. It's too personal and weird to not even personal and weird. It's just, maybe it's about someone and I don't want to hurt someone else's feelings by talking about it. Whatever. It's something I need to write on paper and just be like, this is happening. So that
Yeah.
is a very good thing for me.
Yes. And some of our viewers are totally agreeing with you about journaling.
Oh, good.
Rachel Anderson, who I get to work with, so she loves journaling. And that's so good. It's something that some of us start off younger. And for me, I wasn't a big journaler, but now I'm much more of a journaler and on different things, like you mentioned. Um, Cindy Roberts is saying, hey, you guys are both so helpful as
Oh, good.
trainers and as owners. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can post in the comments. We're going to wrap up here shortly, but I thank you so much for, sharing all of this. I've loved getting to work with you and continuing to work with you because you're offering something that's really important. And
Thank you.
obviously, as a person, I enjoy you as well because I'm the same. I guess I should be in a hippie group as well. Little young for that, but I enjoy the bringing people together. So if someone is watching and they're not on our women supporting women in the pet industry, you got to join it. It's a free group. I'll post the link after we end our live.
Especially now, man. Can I tell you that? I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people are like people even in my immediate area who've had extremely successful but award-winning dog training businesses. They said they're losing it. I mean, and they just need community, I think. I think we all do. So even though coaching is great and we should do that. I mean, some people are literally like, oh, I guess, is this the end? I mean, they don't know what they're going to do. So I think just support right now is really
Mhm.
important from people who are sort of in the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about our group. The group I said is free. Obviously, I offer, coaching as I've coached Vicki. I'm offering some group coaching as well. But if you cannot afford that, you feel like it's not the time to invest. I don't want to pressure anyone because scared money don't make you money. Okay. And I get it because I own a professional pet industry, business as well. I have several dog trainers work for me. We have a physical building. It's difficult times, but we have to set that aside and say, as you said, Vicki, how can we support one another? How can we get creative? I've talked to people in New York that I've never met before in person, not part of our group originally, now as part of our group who just need some help with Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Just post in the group if you need help. Let's do some lives. There's so much you can do, and I get fired up about it. Sure, I get down from time to time because it's just part of the situation and I'm human.
Yeah.
But like today, I'm just fired up getting to talk to you because
Oh, good.
I know that
Because
there's
we
going to be
haven't,
something on the other side.
yeah. And we haven't talked because,
I know, and we can
which is
still
a real
talk.
drag, but yeah, I mean, we do need to look forward to that.
Yes, and this is the time to journal. So I'll share a little bit about the journaling that I thought was really weird at first. And I go between gratitude journaling and then like futuristic or, dreamy journaling. And when you're doing dreamy journaling or whatever you want to call it, don't edit. Don't edit it. It's so hard. because you think like, well, I don't need that much money, or I don't need that kind of house, or I don't need that many clients. It's like, no. If you could be living in a non-quarantine life right now, if you could be living with a business that brings you the most joy, the most money, helps the most people, write about that. Your brain cannot help but try to make it happen. So
Right.
if you're constantly focused on, I just posted on this page here yesterday, Sean Cannell, who is a YouTube creator, he does a podcast as well. He was talking about how fear makes our brain shrink. This is the time for our brain to grow and go crazy and try all kinds of new things. We shouldn't be sitting and being fearful. I have my moments. We all have our moments. But it's moments, and then you got to say, I've got to move past that because it's not going to help anyone in the long run.
Right.
Especially ourselves. And so if we can journal those things about what our business would look like in the future, but you say it as if it's today.
Yeah.
So you say, I am so excited to write myself a check for $5,000. I'm so excited. And you put emotion behind it, which actually makes it more powerful. And just write, just as Vicki said, just write it all out. And it also helps too, if you need to write out some icky stuff, write that out, get it out of your brain so you're not constantly thinking about it. I posted today because I needed it myself. I felt very overwhelmed this morning and last night, and I woke up this morning and I said, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I need to stop. And so I just picked a word, and that's something that my business coach gave me on Monday, was talking about picking a word, and my word is ease. And anytime today I got like, oh my God, I have 5,000 things to do, which I really didn't, but that's how I felt. I just thought ease. And every time I thought ease, I would breathe, which is really important because we all need to breathe and we never breathe enough. And then I just said, I'm only going to focus on what I have to do next. Next, I make breakfast. Next, I run this errand. Next, I do this thing. And I don't worry about what I'm doing at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that helps people. I'm going to check in, see if we have any questions, since I yammered on there quite a bit. And see if we have anybody who has any questions. We do not. Well, thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Thank you, Vicki, for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Even though it feels like we have a lot, it's always valuable. And I want you guys to go check out Showdown Prep School on Facebook for sure. She has a class this Saturday about hand stacking. And even if you just want something to do with your dog, dude, this is like my favorite class. Like, it's so stupid how much I love it. I'll probably even talk about it tomorrow because I'm talking about Stand in my Facebook Live on my other page. So I'll put the link in that there too, because I just love, it's just weird. It's one of those things that you just pick up on. You're like, I love this.
Yeah, I like it too.
So check it all out. Sign up for all her things because she's just a wealth of knowledge. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for your time, especially Vicki. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, bye. Thank you.